The holiday season has come and gone, and now that the new year has begun, we're finally getting into the part of college basketball when things really start to heat up. Conference play has begun, teams are starting to find their identity, and the top prospects are starting to distinguish themselves. This brings us to the topic of today's video, which is the second edition of my monthly mock draft series. As always, we'll be running through every lottery pick, but this time the order will actually be based on the current NBA standings, because at this point there's a big enough sample size for the standings to actually matter. Before we get started though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting from the bottom and working our way up to the top pick, with the 14th pick in the draft, the Portland Trail Blazers select Obi Toppin from Dayton. Dayton have been a major surprise in the standings this year and have competed tough with some very good opponents, and much of that success is due to Toppin and his phenomenal play on the court. He's a legitimate contender for the Wooden Award this year if he keeps it up, because so far he's averaging about 20 points and 8 rebounds while shooting the ball a scorching hot 63% from the field and 37% from 3. Despite NBA teams not posting up much nowadays, he is a phenomenal scorer out of the post and around the rim in general. Plus, he stretches the floor well and is a fairly mobile with the ball as well. He can score the ball in a plethora of ways and would help out the Blazers' forward depth that they currently lack. Up next with the 13th pick, the Phoenix Suns select Nico Mannion from Arizona. Mannion looks terrific on tape, and his offensive skill set is so diverse, but this season his production has been a bit up and down. He's a natural playmaker that operates so smoothly with the ball in his hands and can get his shot off from anywhere, which is such a vital attribute to have as a guard in today's NBA. Once he gets into the paint, he has a beautiful floater that he uses to get his shot off over defenders, and despite his appearance, is a sneaky good athlete. His three-point shot has been slightly below average this season so far, but based on the confidence he has in it, the pure stroke he shoots it with, and his good free throw shooting, which is usually a good indicator of how good a player can shoot, I wouldn't worry too much about that. He will need to bulk up a bit for the next level, but overall his natural feel for the game will help him in the long term. Up next with the 12th pick in the draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Killian Hayes from France. Now, when I say this, I promise I mean it in a good way, but Hayes reminds me a bit of a lefty Markelle Fultz in his current form. He's got great size at the point guard spot, is both quick and agile, can get where he wants on the court, and when he's around the basket, he will go up and punch it, as he's also a terrific athlete. He also has great defensive instincts, and when he gets the ball on the fast break, he'll make a play more often than not. Players overseas typically don't play big minutes, and Hayes is no different, but per 36 minutes, he's averaging over 8 assists per game, and his vision has been one of the more promising aspects of his game. His perimeter shooting does still need some work, but all in all, similarly to how Fultz is looking ready to bounce back this year, I think Hayes can be a high-impact player. Next up at pick number 11, the Charlotte Hornets select Jaden McDaniels from Washington. McDaniels has drawn comparisons to Brandon Ingram by several scouts, and for good reason, but just like Ingram, he's going to more than likely take a while before he blossoms. He's shown flashes of elite potential for Washington this year, but he's also shown on just as many occasions why you're going to need patience with him. He's 6'10" that moves with terrific agility and quickness, and he can make tough shots from the perimeter over defenders because of his length and his size. He has as much scoring potential as anyone in this class, but a lot of his upside is based on potential and not completely where he's at in the present. He, like Ingram at Duke, will need to put on more weight and likely adjust for a while to the physicality of the league once he gets going, because finishing in the paint and through defenders will likely be a struggle for him early on. For a team like Charlotte, they should have all the patience in the world with a guy like him, because the upside is definitely there. Up next with the 10th pick in the draft, the Sacramento Kings select Precious Achiuwa from Memphis. Achiuwa has all of the physical tools that NBA scouts salivate over, and it's definitely something that will help him translate to the NBA. He has great size and strength for a forward, long arms, and terrific defensive instincts. He maneuvers his way into the paint by overpowering most of his matchups, and when he gets to the rim, he finishes very well. He doesn't really shoot much from the perimeter, but he has made a decent percentage of the threes that he's taken when he's taken them. He just needs to get more comfortable over time taking them at a higher volume. He scores about 15 points per game, creates turnovers, and excels in transition, and he could make a very good complementary piece for a team down the line. Next, with the 9th pick in the draft, the Boston Celtics select Onyeka Okongwu from USC. Okongwu has arguably helped his stock more than anyone else so far this year, and if he continues to perform at this level, I won't hesitate to move him further up this list, but right now he's firmly a top 10 prospect. As a big man, his presence in the paint has been ridiculously impactful on both ends, as he's worked very well out of the post, and on defense, his instincts and timing on blocked shots and contests has been phenomenal. He's averaging 18 points and 9 rebounds per game while shooting 65% from the field, and has embraced the role of the anchor of USC's team. The Celtics have been great this year, but if there's been one area of weakness, it has been with their bigs, so this would be a match made in heaven. Next up, with the 8th pick in the draft, the Chicago Bulls select Deni Avdija from Israel. Avdija is another very intriguing international prospect in this draft that, after seeing all of the success Luka Doncic is finding, will draw tons of attention from scouts. His game is very smooth with the ball in his hands, he has the confidence to shoot from deep once he sees the slightest opening, and he even creates for others surprisingly well. He's drawn comparisons to Luka for obvious reasons, but obviously those kind of expectations need to be tempered. Unlike Luka, who dominated the European scene before coming to the NBA, Avdija doesn't have a big role on his current team, which is common amongst young players, so he's far from a finished product. Next up, with the 7th pick in the draft, the Detroit Pistons select Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. Maxey is one of the most explosive prospects in the class, and at his best has been one of the most exciting players in all of college basketball, but unfortunately, with all of the highest of highs he's also had plenty of lows. Consistency has been an issue for him because while he has lit up top teams like Michigan State and Louisville, he has also had some incredibly underwhelming performances, such as an 0 for 9 shooting night against Georgia Tech. The eye test tells me that in the long run, he'll be fine because just from watching him play, you can tell he has tons of talent. He'll just need to learn to put it all together more often on a more consistent basis. Next up, with the 6th pick in the draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Tyrese Haliburton from Iowa State. Haliburton is yet another example of someone that probably wasn't on many people's radars before the season started, but thanks to his tremendous production, is playing his way into the top tier of prospects in this class. He's been doing it all for Iowa State this year as their point guard, averaging 18 points and 8 assists per game, while shooting a highly efficient 53% from the field and 43% from 3 on high volume. Plus, he has all of the physical attributes that will make scouts fall even more in love with him, as he stands at 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan. He plays hard-nosed defense, has terrific vision to create for others, and knocks down shots at a high level. Now, starting off the top 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers select RJ Hampton from Australia. Hampton is unfortunately injured at the moment, so we haven't been able to see much new footage of his game, but he was off to a strong start in Australia, and his ability to be a strong combo guard at the next level was demonstrated on several occasions. His perimeter shooting is the key to him being a prospect, but believe me when I say he's much more than a shooter. When he gets ahead of steam, he does very well getting to the rim and taking defenders off the dribble, and his creativity around the basket helps him convert despite contests from bigger and stronger opponents. He definitely will need to add some strength to his thin, wiry frame, but overall, he should be a burst of offense when inserted into any team's rotation. Up next, with the 4th pick, the Washington Wizards select Cole Anthony from North Carolina. Yes, John Wall is coming back next year, so drafting his position may seem questionable for the Wizards, but for many reasons it is the smart choice. For one, this draft is very point guard heavy, and reaching at another position when Anthony is much better wouldn't be smart, but also, Wall's health has been a major risk over the years, so grabbing some insurance with the bigger picture in mind couldn't possibly hurt. Anthony is a leader on and off the floor already as a freshman, has the ability to take a game over, and isn't afraid of any big moments. He's a big playmaker with the talent and IQ to make teams better. Next up, with the third pick in the draft, the New York Knicks select LaMelo Ball from Australia. Outside of the hysteria that comes with being a member of the Ball family, LaMelo has legitimately proven himself to be one of the very best prospects in this draft class. He can simply make plays on the court that very few others can. He sees the floor exceptionally well and delivers beautiful passes on the money to open teammates, and most importantly, can get to his spots with ease to shoot the ball. He has admittedly been a bit inefficient this season in Australia, but you have to keep in mind that he's still only 18 years old and will still be only 18 at the time of the draft. He's incredibly young for the class he's in, and despite that, oozes with potential. Up next, with the second pick in the draft, the Golden State Warriors select James Wiseman, formerly from Memphis. Wiseman played a few games in college this year before controversy struck, and instead of dealing with the BS that is the NCAA, Wiseman instead chose to drop out and prepare for the draft on his own terms, which may end up being smart in order to preserve his health. Wiseman runs the floor so well for a big man, finishes well above the rim, is a terrific athlete, and even has great length. Quite simply, he has the physical tools that you can't teach, and adding a guy like that in the middle of the Warriors that will be back to full strength next season could be scary. And finally, with the top pick in the draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Anthony Edwards from Georgia. Trae Young notably came out and said he wants some help around him, and adding another bucket getter like Edwards would form an incredibly promising duo in the backcourt that could put up big numbers for years to come. He's a strong 6'5" who has the perfect combination of power and finesse, and once he gets hot, there's almost nothing you can do to slow him down. He's comfortable from both inside and out, as he can take advantage of smaller guards in the post, but also blow by bigger guards and finish in the lane. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out, because each of these top 4 picks are very much in contention for the top pick, but right now, I give the slight edge to Edwards. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who you would take number 1. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.